All right, for the next one, when an even root is greater than a negative number, what you pretty much do here is you set the radicand, which is inside the radical, greater than or equal to 0. And that's pretty much going to yield your answer for the most part. And also, when you set the inside of a radical equal to 0 or greater than or equal to 0, that's going to be your actual domain. So the previous problem, I should have done that first, but here we'll do this first. So we're going to find the domain. So the domain here, we take the inside, the radicand x minus 3, and it has to be greater than or equal to 0. So to solve this, we would just add the 3, and x is greater than or equal to 3. All right, so from here, we're going to go ahead and solve the rest of this problem. So first thing I look for is addition or subtraction, which I don't have outside the radical, but I do have multiplication. So we undo that by dividing it. So this cancels. We get the square root of x minus 3 is greater than negative 1. Now, if this was less than a negative 1, at this point we could stop and say that it's a no solution, but since it's greater than it, we're just going to continue going forward. So to undo the square root, we are going to square both sides. When you square a square root, it cancels out because they're inverses, so you're left with x minus 3 is greater than negative 1 squared. Negative 1 is negative 1 times negative 1, which is 1. Last, we're going to add the 3, and x is greater than 4. Now, when we compare this to our domain, the one that yields to be true is x is greater than or equal to 3, so all the solutions are contained actually in x is greater than or equal to 3. So therefore, our solution for this one is actually going to be x is greater than or equal to 3. If you like interval notation, you can say that it's going to be from 3 to infinity. So let's take a look at this graphically and see how this looks. So once again, it doesn't really matter where you start from. I just use the original one. So 2 square root x minus 3, nothing on the outside. You can hit enter and tab, or you could just arrow down as well. And then, oops, negative 2, and hit enter. Okay, so this asks, where is this square root function greater than, so above, that line negative 2? So where is this blue graph above this line of negative 2? And we see that it's all above it. So the whole graph is above it. But a square root function is not all real numbers. So if we count here, this is 1, 2, and 3. So that's a closed circle because just based off the parent function, it's bracket 0 to infinity. In this case, it is going to also be a bracket here. So bracket at a value of 3 going towards infinity. So graphically, we can see that's what happens there. So you should always check your domain so you can see your answer because x is greater than 4 is included in there. So 1, 2, 3, closed circle, heads towards infinity. So x is greater than or equal to 3, or 3 is greater, or sorry, bracket 3 comma infinity. But the main thing about this, once you get to the case where the radical is isolated, and you have to look at that number right here, if it was negative, just set the radicand greater than or equal to 0 and solve it, and that's my answer. So notice right here, radicand greater than or equal to 0, solved it, and that happened to be my solution.